I ended up slipping into the flower market world with my sworn enemy in the middle of the night, and night after night we were trapped in a love-hate mess. I became an Omega sugar daddy, keeping plenty of canaries on the side. He became an alpha who was forced by me. By day, we had to return to real life and pretend we didn't even know each other. Later, as usual, I climbed into his bed. I lowered my waist smoothly, completely practiced. With a face like I was marching to my doom, I urged him to hurry up. But he pressed a hand against my lower back, smiling teasingly as he said, "Haven't you noticed? The system hasn't given any prompts for a long time. Or is it that you're addicted to me? Yo, Charlie, you've looked wiped out for days now. Who drained you dry? Seriously, Charlie, you were shaking when you walked in. Whose girl got you this hooked? Control yourself a bit. You still planning to live your life or what?" I leaned back against the booth sofa and shot my so-called friends an annoyed look. "Get lost. Quit messing with me. What choice do I have? Every night at exactly 10, I'm forced on schedule into that damn flower market storyline." I fought it. I tried to escape. I went to crowded bars, only to vanish from the crowd the very next second. I boarded a plane to flee Haicheng, 10,000 meters in the air, and in the next second, I'd refresh straight into my nemesis's bed. The worst part was that cursed setting in the flower market world. I was actually an Omega. The moment my alpha rival released his pheromones, my legs would go weak. Tears would spill from places they really shouldn't. The more I cursed at him, the more excited he got. Once I returned to reality, the ABO setting no longer existed, but there were after effects. Those marks, and that sore, swollen ache. They came back with me. Damn it. I quietly rubbed my lower back, lifted my glass, and drained it in one go. Just thinking about how there were only 30 minutes left until 10 made me so irritated I couldn't stop shaking my leg. Logan clinked his glass against mine. "Charlie, what's got you so worked up? I just saw your nemesis negotiating across the street at that restaurant. Want to?" I ground my teeth. "Take me there. If his deal falls through tonight, I'll write my name backward." I grabbed my coat and stormed across the street with a few guys in tow, barging into the restaurant with all the aggression I could muster. Right then, I saw Thomas in a sharp suit stepping out of a private room while making a call. He wasn't surprised to see me at all. He covered the phone with one hand, his gaze sweeping over the people behind me. Sharp, oppressive. Then he hung up, tapped his screen twice with long fingers. In an instant, the rich kids behind me, Logan included, all chickened out. "Charlie, my dad's calling me home. My dog just had a second litter." "Charlie, bros forever, but my dog just remarried." "Charlie, I knew it. Not a single one of them was reliable. Did your dog have a second litter too?" I sneered without smiling. "Get lost. All of you." The once crowded hallway emptied in seconds. Only Thomas and I were left, facing each other. Thomas raised an eyebrow and walked toward me. He lifted his wrist to check the time. 9:55. "You're early today, So eager to be." He smiled playfully. I didn't dare catch the rest. He kept closing the distance. Seeing everyone gone and knowing I couldn't take him head on, I turned and ran. Thomas reached out and hooked a finger into my collar. "Running? Aren't you coming back anyway?" His fingertip brushed the back of my neck, and my legs clamped together on instinct. Even back in the real world, that spot on my neck still held an Omega's sensitivity. "Damn it, you jerk, let go of me." I clutched my neck and spun around angrily. "Jerk?" Thomas echoed coldly. Then he let out a low chuckle, like he'd just heard something amusing. "And aren't you one too?" "Of course not. I'm straight as it gets." "Then you'd better hold it together later. Don't come begging me. Whoever gives in first is a puppy." Thomas raised his brows, nodded with clear confidence and amusement. "Then let go." I took off running the second I could. No way I could beat him, running was my only option. Thomas stayed calm, his thin lips moving as he counted down softly. 3, 2, 1. The moment his voice fell silent, the surroundings dissolved like ink washed with water, then gathered again. Right on cue, the system's electronic voice rang out. "Host, your identity is an Omega patron who keeps many canaries. However, your favorite alpha canary does not like you, so you pretend to be cold toward him. Scenario, forcing the alpha canary to meet you at your villa." I raised an eyebrow. Serves him right. Truly satisfying. Looks like Thomas finally gets a taste of his own medicine. I was just about to put on some airs in front of him when Thomas merely glanced at me, then walked past me and dropped onto my sofa. That was crossing the line. Was he the patron now, or was I? Fine, I had to admit it. His presence did look more convincing than mine. "Keeping this many birds," Thomas said, his gaze drifting downward. "Have you even figured out how to handle your own?" "They're called canaries," I scoffed. "That's what's trendy these days. Talking about birds like that is so outdated." "You keep them too?" Thomas narrowed his eyes and stood up, clearly displeased. Didn't the system tell you who I am? I mean in real life. Not really, he said. Thanks to you. I kept rubbing my lower back. You jerk. If you'd stop pushing yourself so hard. I even offered you a pillow, you refused. If you're sore, whose fault is that? Say one more word and I'll lose it. If I don't push back, do I just take it? I definitely didn't want Thomas to realize how affected I was. That would be humiliating. Being driven to that point by my sworn enemy. If that got out, how would I ever show my face again? Pain was the only thing that kept me clear-headed enough to hold on to what little reason I had left and keep insulting him. Anyway, whoever gave in first lost. I was ready. Thomas crossed his legs elegantly, looking at me with obvious amusement. Damn it, he was looking down on my self-control, the one thing I prided myself on. The back of my neck tingled and burned. I clenched my teeth and glared back at him, but his presence felt impossible to escape. Thomas's throat bobbed as he suddenly stood up. I instinctively stepped back. Don't, what are you doing? We agreed. Without sparing me a glance, he went straight to the fridge and downed a glass of ice water in 2 gulps. You're cheating, I snapped. No choice, he shrugged. You're the one provoking me. Go to hell. I grabbed a cushion and threw it at him. He caught it easily. Save your strength. If I were you, I'd lock myself in a room right now. He walked toward me, cool fingers brushing lightly across my lips. Otherwise, someone might lose control and start making little noises, begging me to help. I bit hard into the inside of my cheek and spat at him. Just because I ask, you'll do it? If I tell you to drop dead, will you do that too? Thomas brushed aside the damp strands of hair on my forehead. I could. His palms still carried the chill of the ice water. He cupped my face lightly. You're burning up. Let me cool you down. I lingered for a split second in that coolness before snapping back to my senses. Get lost. Stay away from me. You smell awful. Oh? Thomas raised an eyebrow. He reached behind his neck, brushing his thumb there. A sharp, overwhelming presence lingered on his fingertip. He wiped that thumb across the corner of my mouth. Then I'll torment you on purpose, my dear patron who loves collecting birds. To me, that was pure provocation. I lunged up, fist clenched, swinging for his face. Thomas tilted slightly and dodged with ease. He sat back down, watching me coldly. The scene felt absurdly split. From the waist up, we were glaring at each other like enemies. Below that, everything felt dangerously close to crossing a line. My breathing was already uneven. I pressed my knuckles to my lips and bit down without thinking. I tried to numb myself with imagination. If Thomas gave in first, I could mock him for the rest of his life. I couldn't tell whether it was excitement or something else entirely. My jaw clenched tighter and tighter. Suddenly, Thomas grabbed my chin, forcing it up. He pried my teeth apart with his thumb. Do you really hate me that much? Only then did I see my finger, broken skin, blood smeared across it. I didn't notice the pain and fracture in his eyes. Yes, I said. I hate you. His lips trembled, his eyes reddening. To the point you'd hurt yourself just to get away from me? Not that far, I replied. I was just too worked up. I hadn't finished speaking. His hands clenched at his sides, knuckles turning white. He lowered his gaze and nodded faintly. Remember to bandage it. Then he turned and went downstairs, locking himself into the storage room in the basement. No windows. Like a cage. I used to think anywhere with Thomas was unbearable. Now I understood. Without his presence steadying me, I could barely think. I got up from my sofa, and curled myself into the spot where he'd just been sitting. His lingering presence was still there. I even picked up the glass he'd used, gathering everything that still carried traces of him around me. It was just instinct, I told myself. Like drinking when you're thirsty, eating when you're hungry. I was straight. There was no way I'd depend on Thomas. The spot at the back of my neck twitched and tightened on its own. Damn it, Thomas. I'm already like this. Would it kill you to give in just once? I wasn't giving in. No way. Right then, my phone rang. The contact name read, Canary 3, Isaac. I answered immediately. 30 minutes. Buy the suppressant and bring it to my place. Hurry. The seconds crawled by. Finally, someone knocked at the villa door. I sent him the passcode and told him to let himself in. Are you, all right? He asked softly. I was soaked through, like I'd just been pulled out of water. I'm alive. Where's the suppressant? The alpha named Isaac lowered his gaze shyly, and undid the buttons at his chest. Please, think of me as the suppressant. He reached out, touching my cheek. Sir, why won't you look at me? You always favor Thomas, but look how he treats you. I'm clean, he whispered. His gaze was almost obsessive. Even as slow as I was, alarm bells went off instantly. This was not my one-on-one storyline. I never chose anything like this. Sir, He sighed softly, his angelic face full of heartbreak. Don't lie to me. You didn't call Thomas here just for business, did you? As he spoke, he pressed a hand to my waist, fumbling clumsily at my belt. My pupils shrank. I reached out and shoved at his shoulders. Let go. Everything happened too fast. I hadn't even processed it yet. Damn this heat. I had no strength left at all. Thomas had locked himself in the basement, and now I was being treated like an open buffet. I couldn't push him off lying flat, so I struggled halfway upright. So this one's not good enough for you? A cold voice suddenly sounded behind me. You prefer someone else's bird? My scalp tightened instantly, a ridiculous sense of being caught in the act. From Thomas's angle, with me half propped up, he couldn't see me pushing Isaac away. All he could see was the back of Isaac's head pressed close to me. Your bird, my bird, forget that. Just hurry up and save me. I'm actually the type who believes in exclusive romance. Anything involving more than two people is a hard no for me. When Isaac heard that, he froze. Then he looked past my head and met Thomas's eyes with blatant provocation. He even licked the corner of his mouth, looking completely confident. Thomas stepped forward without warning. He covered my eyes so I couldn't look at Isaac and pulled me against him. Save you? He said coldly. Then explain this to me. If he didn't have the password, how did he get in? Thomas's hand slid from my eyes down to my jaw. He tightened his grip. I was forced to tilt my head back until he was the only thing in my sight. I only asked him to bring me a suppressant. How was I supposed to know he'd crossed the line immediately? The moment Thomas heard the word suppressant, his expression darkened. 3 seconds, he said, shooting Isaac a cold glance. Get out. I have a score to settle with my patron. He bent down, slipped one arm under my knees, and lifted me up sideways. Without looking back, he carried me upstairs and tossed out one last line. Or do you have a thing for watching? Isaac's misty, damp eyes stayed fixed on me, unblinking, like a small bird begging for food. He really was a perfect canary, but I was straight. I waved at him, signaling him to leave. Thomas noticed the small gesture. He deliberately loosened his hold. The sudden drop made my heart leap into my throat. Instinctively, I wrapped my arms around his neck. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the villa's front door open and close. The next second, Thomas threw me onto the bed. The mattress was so springy that I bounced a couple of times. And suddenly it hit me. Thomas, I said slowly, are you jealous? Thomas let out a scornful laugh. With one hand, he loosened his tie and caught both my wrists. He wrapped them around and around, tying them firmly above my head. You're overthinking it, Charlie. I just don't want you to have an easy time. He looked me over like someone admiring a piece of art. Then he lightly tapped my cheek with the back of his hand, teasing. You'd better repeat this to yourself 100 times. I'm not into men. I'm really not. Unhurried, facing me directly, he began unbuttoning his shirt one button at a time. Long, well-defined fingers rested at his belt. Open your eyes, Charlie, he ordered. Aren't you straight? Then why are your eyes shut? Fine. I'll look. His physique hit like a visual shock. Defined muscles, strong arms, veins standing out clearly. I clenched my teeth and muttered under my breath. I'm not into men. I'm really not. I'm not. Thomas listened to my quiet chanting and burst out laughing. His chest shook, the laugh low and deep, his body tense, like a predator ready to pounce. Charlie, he said as he leaned in, hot breath brushing my ear, you'll beg me. I bit down on the first thing I could reach. It was his chin. The metallic taste in the air spread instantly. Through clenched teeth, I said, the first one to beg will be you. Thomas didn't even seem to feel it. He just chuckled softly, as if amused by something only he understood. Growing up, did you ever see me lose to you even once? He was right. Back in school, he'd been the flawless student council president. In the business world, he was a self-made tech prodigy. This story is exclusively produced by the YouTube channel, Omegaverse Tales Studio. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe. It wasn't just that I'd never beaten him. Even my father, a seasoned fox, had lost to him in a business war. My father had even gone as far as forcing me into Thomas's company, telling me to work under him and learn from him. What a perfect chance to get revenge on me, to humiliate me. There was no way Thomas would pass that up. He agreed immediately. My father was so moved he nearly cried. But from my first day on the job, I never worked a single proper shift. Running errands for Thomas, fetching drinks, following him around, I couldn't do it. I skipped work during the day. But at night, Thomas made sure I reported in other ways. On the bed, by the counter, near the window, everywhere. He taught me how to read reports, predict market trends, understand the direction of the industry. His voice never stopped, and neither did his movements. He would ask, do you understand? How was that any different from asking if I could handle it? In every sense of the word, Thomas gave everything he had. A soft drip. A drop of blood fell from the cut on his chin, blooming like a small flower on my shirt and snapping me back to reality. I glared back at him stubbornly. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm not getting hooked on men. Thomas raised an eyebrow and stood up. He opened the bathroom door and turned on the shower. Seriously? You're showering with the door open? Steam rose, hazy and indistinct. His presence spread with the mist. From the bathroom, his voice drifted out. Charlie, cheaters get punished. Don't you know birds can be very jealous? I didn't look. I didn't listen. I didn't think. But the moment I closed my eyes, all I could see was him. His body half hidden in the steam. The sound of water was like a spell I couldn't escape. I fought the pull with everything I had. Yet the harder I resisted, the more I wanted to give in. When Thomas came out, he had a towel wrapped around his waist, as if trying, and failing, to be discreet. Honestly, it was worse with the towel than without it, especially since I'd just seen everything. Charlie, your face is burning. That's because you have no shame. Showering with the door open, unbelievable. Why don't you just run around naked? Then why are you shaking? He shot back. He lifted the covers and lay down beside me. The lights went out, and every sound and touch felt amplified. Thomas closed his eyes, calm and composed. The complete opposite of me. But I knew better. The tension in the air told me he wasn't doing any better than I was. Are you going to work tomorrow, Charlie? He asked. No. Why? He turned on his side, propping himself up on one arm. I hate you, can't you tell? And you still want me as your assistant? Do I look that desperate? My tone was sharp, full of impatience, but not really directed at him. Stop talking to me. I'm at my limit. Before Isaac showed up, I'd convinced myself this was just a physical reaction. But it wasn't. I felt nothing toward Isaac at all, which meant I absolutely couldn't give in, because giving in would prove that I wasn't yielding to instinct. I was yielding to Thomas himself. He was so close. I could touch him just by turning over. I couldn't think anymore. Right at the moment my self-control was about to snap, I heard him ask softly, if you show up on time tomorrow, I'll give in tonight. Deal? I let out a cold laugh. Can't hold out anymore? Not exactly, he replied calmly. You're soaked. I mean with sweat. You're at your limit. I'm giving you a way out. Do you want it? You're really giving in. The instant the words left my mouth, Thomas flipped over and pinned me. As you wish, my patron. He pressed a brief kiss to my forehead, and turned me over. I meant work. Going to work. Not that. Keep playing with words and I'll make you regret it. Wait, just wait. He paused. What is it? Whoever gives in first loses. Thomas lightly bit the back of my neck and laughed softly. Then he leaned close to my ear. Woof, woof. Satisfied, my patron? The night had been a mess. I didn't refuse the pillow Thomas handed me. I simply didn't have the energy to scold him anymore. After all, I'd promised him. I struggled, fought with myself, and finally made it to work just on time. Passing the break room, I caught snippets of colleagues whispering. Did you see that? Yeah, I saw it. Didn't expect Thomas to be that wild, right? Look at that ring of teeth marks, and the teeth are pretty straight, too. Isn't he supposed to have an important meeting today? Sensing someone passing by, the chatter in the break room went silent. I knocked on Thomas's office door. The wound on his chin was impossible to miss. I wondered how he would explain it in that meeting. The thought of Thomas looking frustrated made me secretly a little excited. The first thing Thomas said when he saw me, "Are you satisfied with your masterpiece?" I grinned and slowly walked to his desk. I leaned on it with both hands, looking down at him from above. Dead satisfied. City Hall has a cross-border acquisition pitch this afternoon. You're coming with me. Thomas didn't seem to care about the wound at all. It was as normal as having a cat at home that inevitably gets a few scratches. As if the pain I inflicted on him was just a kind of playful teasing in his eyes. I crossed my arms. Why should I go? I only agreed to come to work. I'm not obliged to accompany you on a business trip. Thomas lifted an eyelid from a pile of documents and glanced at me lazily. What's the difference? You'll still be back in my bed tonight anyway. Wait, what? Back in my bed? On schedule? I had no rebuttal, of course, but I wouldn't miss a single chance to tease him. I pressed down on the papers to stop him from turning the page. He looked up at me, resigned. Thomas, all these fancy words. You just can't let go of me, can you, you damn gay? His expression remained calm, but his words hit me like lightning. I froze. Yeah, what the hell was he saying? Did he even realize what he was saying? I was speechless for a long moment. Thomas pulled the documents from under my hands. That's the best you can do to gross me out. I was wrong. Who knew Thomas, who could take down hundreds of enemies at once, would be the kind to self-sabotage like this. The smartest move was simply to shut up. We landed in City Hall and headed straight to the branch office. The branch manager saw Thomas's face and froze mid-smile. "Thomas, what happened to your face?" Thomas glanced at me casually. Only then did everyone notice me standing by his side. "Oh, who's this?" "My assistant, Charlie." Thomas nodded. "So you two are close." I thought Thomas never brings outsiders to acquisition pitches. I forced a nervous laugh. "We're not close, really." Thomas ran his fingertip over the scab on his chin and nodded. "Indeed, not close." Then, in front of everyone, he reached over and pressed that spot firmly, right where an alpha's glands are in the ABO world. "Just following me to learn a few things, right?" To everyone else, it seemed like a friendly gesture, but between Thomas and me, it was a silent, provocative signal. And of course, his provocations were bold and right in my face. I had no defense. Thomas led me and the others, the deep teeth mark on his jaw impossible to ignore, to the head of the table. The meeting ended, and the representatives left to discuss terms. I trailed behind Thomas, lost in thought. He pinched the back of my neck. "What's the matter?" Putting everything else aside, Thomas's presence at the negotiation table was intoxicating. Even knowing his cards, I was still amazed at his audacity. I honestly felt nervous for him, but he stayed calm, confident in victory. Thomas held the room key and gestured for me to follow. "Just one room?" I asked. "What's the alternative?" I checked my watch. 9:50. I grabbed my clothes and claimed the bathroom. "I'm washing first. Tonight we go fast and finish. Tomorrow's tasks will be tougher." My dad had a point. Being with Thomas, I really learned something useful. Thomas plugged in his laptop and said, "Speed isn't everything, but I'll make sure you get enough rest." I finished my shower and decided not to bother with clothes. I didn't check the time, but it had to be about right. "Why are you dawdling? Hurry up." "You didn't hear me. Arrows drawn and still arguing, not even coming to serve your patron." Thomas frowned, hesitated, looking at me. I yanked off his clothes and tossed them into the bathroom. This time, Thomas showed rare restraint. Men, after all, are predictable. I understood and finally went to sleep. Over the next few days, Thomas became slightly reluctant each time it was time. He always tried to rush me. I bent over, pressing against his waist, and looked back at him. "Can we get on with it?" He held my waist and teased. "Haven't you noticed the system hasn't prompted in a while? Or, have you, the straightest straight man, become addicted to me? What about the system prompt?" I shot back. Thomas's fingers pressed lightly at the curve of my waist. "Charlie, whether I continue, all depends on you." I felt equal parts embarrassed and furious. "Why didn't you say so earlier, you damn gay? Did you give me a chance to answer?" Dead memories attacked me. Every time, I had acted first. I covered my face, unable to explain my reactions. I got dressed in a mess and bolted out, booked the nearest flight and ran overnight. "Charlie, oh, Charlie, you've embarrassed straight men all over the world." I spent the entire day in a slump. That night, I called Logan. "Logan, you lazy bastard, come out and drink with me." "What's up, Charlie? Why the bad tone?" "Mind your own business. That's the perk of having worthless friends. They're completely useless when it comes to serious matters, but mention booze and they appear like stray cats drawn to blood." Logan even brought his little pets along. The more, the merrier, I guess. I sat in the booth, drinking silently, lost in thought. I couldn't understand myself. No system, no innate ABO bond. How the hell had I gotten addicted to Thomas? He was so awful, yet somehow, I could still see his charm. That was the worst part, the most unbearable. I downed drink after drink. Logan elbowed me. "Charlie, I've noticed you've been hanging close to Thomas lately. What's going on? You two made up?" "Don't bring it up. Haven't you realized how much I hate him?" Logan raised an eyebrow and nodded, then clinked glasses with me. "Then why are you still going to that crappy job? If you ask me, quit. Does your family really need that pittance you earn?" If I quit, my old man will definitely scold me." Seeing my hesitation, Logan pressed on. "Afraid your dad will say something? You skipped work before and didn't care. These past 3 days, have you suddenly caught feelings?" I shoved Logan hard. Like a cat whose tail was stepped on, he yelped. "What feelings? I'm just self-torturing. Why so worked up?" "I'm just saying." Logan looked at me, completely confused. "I wasn't worked up. I wasn't. I'm not gay. I really am not." Calling Logan out tonight had been a mistake. The alcohol didn't soothe me at all. Instead, it made me more agitated. Suddenly, someone patted my shoulder. "Move." I waved him off irritably. "Let's talk." That voice was unlike anyone else's here. I didn't even have to think. It was instantly recognizable. I turned slowly and saw Thomas's face partially hidden in shadow. I couldn't read his expression. The moment he arrived, everyone went silent. Logan instantly tried to wash his hands of it. Thomas, I didn't organize this drinking session, okay? Don't tell my dad. Charlie said he was in a bad mood tonight. Can you tell your dad that instead? Typical. Whenever something happened, he pushed me aside. Thomas stood in the shadows, motionless, as if he hadn't heard Logan at all. His gaze fixed on me. I got up. Let's talk then. We moved to a quiet, secluded corner. Thomas stopped. Why are you here? Did the acquisition get settled? I was surprised. His clothes weren't changed, and his hair wasn't as neat as usual. He looked like he'd rushed over. Yeah, settled. Red-eye flight. No rest. I immediately regretted asking. Why did I care whether he rested or not? Charlie, just listen to me, don't interrupt, okay? I nodded stiffly. I like you. Thomas tapped my lips with his index finger. Listen to me all the way through. I've always liked you, but you probably forgot. Back in school, you were stubborn. You told me if I could beat you, you'd listen to me in everything. So I worked hard, studied, trained. Maybe in your eyes, I was always opposing you, but I always believed your words. If I wanted you, I had to beat you first. Growing up, I realized my efforts only seemed to push us further apart. I couldn't force you to come closer. All I could do was watch as you despised me more and more. My sincerest words, I can only say them jokingly to you. You know how happy I was when the system stopped broadcasting and you approached me on your own. One of us had to stop running. So I chased you. Do you have anything you want to say to me? I shook my head. I didn't know what to say. If this had happened before, I'd have assumed it was a prank, Thomas trying to disgust me. But I could hear his genuine feelings. That terrified me. I couldn't hide behind jokes anymore. I couldn't dismiss it like some game. I felt exiled, lost in a foreign tribe. Seeing me shake my head, Thomas's expression darkened. He seemed to understand something. He braced himself against the wall, looked at me deeply. I get it. I caused you trouble. Sorry. Then he turned decisively. My chest tightened. I wanted to call him back, to chase after him. But what could I say? What could I do? My brain was too muddled by the alcohol. Logan came over and steadied me. Charlie, you're doomed. My dad's going to scold me again for dragging you into this world. I'm quitting. I'm quitting. Tonight, I'll sleep in front of Thomas's company. Tomorrow, I resign first thing. Come on, what era is this? Just send an email. Drunk, my brain wouldn't work. I pulled out my phone, downloaded a resignation template, replaced the details with my own, and submitted it to HR and Thomas. Drink all you want, Thomas won't care anymore. Yes, Thomas wasn't that idle. He always wanted me to learn. He cared if I drank. He had even warned my worthless friends so that whenever they saw him, they acted like mice caught by a cat. But now, that was over. Thomas wouldn't care about me anymore. How wonderful. Better than free. Hangover. My head throbbed. I checked the time. Just past 7 in the morning. The house staff said I had slept on the villa steps last night. The night watch had dragged me in. Did I drink that much? Impossible. I wasn't that kind of drinker. I had control. Auntie brought me hangover soup. I sipped it while scrolling through my phone. Only then did I realize what I had done. The resignation letter. It wasn't a simple resignation. For the complicated relationship between Thomas and me, it was more like a letter of severance. Had I prepared myself to have no ties to Thomas for the rest of my life? I scratched my head, frustrated. Better retract it. I need time to sort my thoughts. HR retracted successfully. Thomas's copy had been read, irreversible. It felt like a piece of me was missing. I didn't understand. How could someone be attracted to the person they despise? By some strange twist of fate, before I even realized it, I was standing at Thomas's door, knocking. Thomas didn't look directly at me. His eyes were dark, shadowed, like he hadn't slept. Or maybe he hadn't slept at all. Seeing me, he didn't show much emotion, just a hoarse tone. You didn't have to resign because of me. You can learn a lot in this role. In a few days, I'll be transferred. I won't be in the way. Where are you going? Instinctively, I grabbed Thomas's arm. We both froze. Even though we'd shared the closest, deepest touches before, this shallow, surface-level contact made my heart race. Thomas looked away. Since you've submitted your resignation, my schedule doesn't concern you anymore. For the first time, Thomas made my chest ache with panic. I didn't understand. Why did the person who hated him the most, the one who wanted to stay far away from him, turn out to be me? And yet, knowing he was really going to leave, I felt sorrow. Suffocating sorrow. I didn't want that, so I clutched his sleeve tightly. I retracted it. I withdrew the HR one. Yours didn't go through. Thomas's pupils flickered. He watched me quietly, silently telling me to continue. My avoidance in Haiching that night and my silence last night were never genuine. Thomas spoke softly. Then what is genuine? Coming here today, crossing the line, is that what you mean? He scrutinized me. His gaze lingered on my lips, guarded, wary, afraid of hearing words that might hurt him. I nodded. Yes, I admit it. At the start of the mission, I wanted to run as far as possible. I couldn't admit how much we clicked. But once the mission ended, I couldn't bear it. If I resigned, I'd be afraid I'd never find another excuse to talk to you again. Don't you hate me? I do. But the more I hate you, the more I subconsciously pay attention to you, and the more I'm pulled in, trapped in this vicious cycle of disliking you while falling for you. It's been like this long before the system came. I stepped forward and wrapped my arms around Thomas's lean waist. It was a pure, honest hug. I reveled in the way Thomas's heartbeat stuttered for me. I give in, Thomas. Actually, I'm gay. I like you. Damn it, I like you, and I'm done pretending otherwise. Ha! Turns out saying it out loud didn't cost me anything. I wasn't dead. Being stubborn never ends well. Thomas slipped his fingers through mine, interlocking them. His nose brushed mine. I lost first. You win again. I buried my face in his chest, voice muffled. Can I still work for you? I think you're amazing, and I want to learn more. About that resignation, can we pretend you never saw it? Of course. For you, I always give my all. I felt my face burn. God, couldn't give my all just mean, give my all? Thomas kissed the corner of my lips. Tomorrow's Saturday. Ha! It took me until night to fully register. That's because you have work. I didn't want to disturb you. Control yourself a little. Days pass anyway, don't they? Charlie, Thomas said, alpha jealousy is strong. If the master isn't taken care of, what if someone else tries to steal you? I shivered, biting into the pillow, half angry, half flustered. You think I could even eat? So, master, you only get me. No, silly, he meant, canary. The more you hate, the more you're drawn in. The harder you resist, the deeper you sink. This must be the paradox of mortal enemies. My opinions and comments. Wow, the tension between Thomas and Charlie is just electric. You can feel how their interactions are a constant push and pull, frustration, jealousy, attraction, all tangled together. Every glance, every subtle touch, carries so much unspoken emotion, and it's fascinating to see how even their conflicts deepen their connection. It's rare to see a story portray such a complicated bond so vividly, where desire and resistance coexist in this delicate balance. I can't help but root for them, even in their stubbornness. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this journey as much as I did. Until next time, this is Omegaverse Tales Studio, signing off.